and HenricK, the right bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal brawl. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content, better games, ripping through pixels, the ultimate game to get around. The ultimate. Dream over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news. Industry that can't escape, reviewing video games. No need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jams. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quits. Rage quits. I'm losing my mind. Chris and HenricK, they're talking gaming all the time. Rage quits. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back. Ain't nothing else to compare. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
You know me. I'm here. I'm ready to rage.
Oh yeah, let's get it, baby, because we got so much to unpack on this glorious show. As you would say, HenricK, I feel like I stole your punch. A little bit of the Kool-Aid,
It is
but
a
it's okay.
glorious show,
Because,
yes.
right, we're going to be kicking it off with the bang. And so before we even begin, we always like to let the people know what's good. If you guys haven't followed us by now on our social media channels, this QR code will lead you directly to my YouTube channel. So show some love, hit the notification bell so you'll never miss a live show.
Can you see it down there? Yeah, that's my QR code. Goes to my YouTube channel where there's tons of content just waiting to be watched. So go watch some videos. Let me know how they are.
Come on now. And we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. Modders continue to treat the game code like a science lab with zero adult supervision, and now Red Dead Redemption 2, which is making quite a comeback, has been reimagined as a full-blown Pokemon-style RPG. It's insane. And so Arthur's gang step in as gym leaders, NPCs packing types and movesets, and turning the wilderness into a very dangerous tall grass where you can catch and name animals. So, HenricK, we're all anticipating some kind of new reimagination of Pokemon. I think we're kind of all getting kind of sick and tired of the same formula. Is this refreshing? Is this something you're willing to jump in right away?
Yeah, maybe Game Freak can take some notes. Actually, I guess it's not really Game Freak that dictates. It's probably more Nintendo that, if anything, that needs to take the notes. Because clearly, Game Freak working on some other game, they can cook. They can cook.
Yeah. Well, or it either looks like it's power to the players. And so this is where I'm going to lead it to you, the gamers. Would you saddle up for this crossover? And more importantly, who wakes up one day and decides to build this? I mean, I'm just genuine question for all the modders, if you won out there, fam.
First capture test. Holy shit! Professor Unk has our starters. He's a stray. He's a stray. We'll give him a home. Okay. What's his name? Bob Barker. Professor Unk, our first gym battle. Here we go. Of course, he has a skunk. Confuse. Turtle. I missed! Use plastic straw. We got our first gym badge.
Absolutely riveting gameplay.
Right? Bob Barker. You know what's funny? I was never a fan of naming my Pokemon in-game. It had to be very genuine with the Pokemon card deck that I had. That's the best way to identify them. I can't get too creative. Or am I just being a lame? You let me know, gamers. Well, let's dive right into
like having a dog and not naming anything but
Pikachu?
Just naming a dog.
Everybody's called a Pikachu. I know. Everybody's called a Labrador. Huh, what's the name? A Labrador. You're like, duh. Rockstar and Nintendo are going to sue each other over who gets to sue this dude. Yeah, so who's really going to cash in on this? HenricK the Wreck.
Probably Rockstar, if anything.
Yeah, how are they going to be able to do it? We're going to soon find out, I suppose. But then you also get these glorious gems. I didn't even know this was a thing. Red Dead Redemption 2, Blue Dude Bamboozle 2, and Yeller Feller Endeavor 2. I love it. I need the whole entourage. And last, draw! Go, Charmander. And yeah, maybe they probably shouldn't link up anytime soon, right? They're supposed to be fainting, not dead, and then bang, bang, shoot them up.
True, yeah.
But you know what's so crazy, HenricK, is that you've been a cosplayer over the years. Have you ever done a video game character?
Oh, yeah. I've definitely done video game characters. Like,
really?
A simple one, Waluigi, as an example.
I love it. And, like, is that one of your favorites to date, or you got something in mind in the future?
Yeah,
for
that
this
probably
year?
is one of my favorite ones, just because, when you embody Waluigi, you got an aura to you.
You know, you ain't lying. And cosplay has quietly grown from a niche corner of fandom into this, like, full-blown cultural spectacle where creativity and the craftsmanship and even the obsession all shake hands. And yes, we've all played Elden Ring, but this time a gamer didn't just recreate a look. I don't know if you can quite move like a video game character. Waluigi, I mean, he's got a little bit of swag, HenricK. I'm not saying you don't have swag, but like,
I make it
got
work.
that? You think you can perfectly embody it? Because I know this guy is one-upping everybody when he's cosplaying as an Elden Ring enemy. I mean, he's complete with the energy of someone who absolutely has been one shot way too many times. And so, gamers, is this dedication, art, or just a warning sign that we've all played just a little too long? Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
I appreciate the dedication from this guy because not only is he just like really in it, he's in character, but he's also done the full getup, like body paint, everything. That's not hard to clean up, or
Sometimes you
not
don't
easy to
even
clean
have
up
to
actually.
spend a whole lot of money. You know what I mean? Like some people need
Yeah.
like a whole crew just to be able to lift yourself up into these massive, displays or cosplays, over the years. But
Mhm.
then, people are really genuinely kind of concerned about some of these kind of things because then you get comments that say upstairs neighbors at 2 a.m. I mean, when you are
True.
prepping for your cosplay, do you have to embrace the character within itself, or are you just more focused on just what's being shown on full display?
I
Your attire.
I feel you gotta embrace the character, at least a little bit, just to, I mean, this is maybe my theater training coming in, being like, nah, you gotta be the character,
Yeah.
but that's just how I feel about it. Yeah.
It comes with the job on and off the stage. Hit theater right, or stage right, please. And then you also get comments that say you can't enter Japan unless you beat this guy. Good luck. Yeah, so if anybody ever wants to visit that beautiful country, sorry, you got to get past this guy. And if you played Elden Ring,
I can attest to this. I just went last year, and he was at the gate.
Oh, he was at
So
the gate. Was he checking your passport? Gotcha. You wanted to make sure you had your real ID in time so you don't get fined
Yep.
that $45. Ah, let's see. He's
Yep.
helping us out in the end. Never thought about that, Henry. And then the last comment is, how many times has bro died for him to know the pattern that well? And yes, I think sometimes when you embrace the cosplay, it shows that you've played that game one too many times, but that's okay.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. While Arc Raiders is still being just highly praised, and it's just kicking up to such high momentum, and players have apparently formed a social contract written entirely in Panic and Muzzle Flash. And just hear me out, it's kind of wild. So yeah, you're gonna encounter some of these crazy arcs in game, but now you have to face these raiders and just these people that want the goop. You know what I mean? I don't blame them. And so now there's this thing, HenricK, called this one-tap policy. It's basically the digital equivalent of you clearing your throat and then hoping nobody throws a punch. Do you vibe by this? I mean, the whole idea is that a single bullet fired as a polite request to not start, World War loot. And so, gamers, is this brilliant emergent etiquette or just the fastest way to get deleted for just trusting strangers in the first place? So let's go ahead and have a look.
So just so you guys know, I have to do a one-tap policy on both of you. It basically ensures my safety that in case you guys were to... Well, hold on one second. Just one, and then one on you. Alright, there we go. So that's for my safety, just in case you guys try to pull your guns out on me. That's so that I have the advantage, okay? I'm not going to here to kill you. It's just so that I don't get killed by a random stranger, or I have the advantage in case you try to kill me. So please don't heal. And you're free to go do whatever you want.
What?
Hey, stop! Okay, so now I have advantage. Now I have advantage. Now I have advantage. Now I have the advantage. So stop trying to kill me because there's no point. Aw, come on, dude.
So much for an advantage.
I like how there's just so many different styles of approach that people take to interacting with random people in this game. This being one of them.
Yeah.
Like, you do that to just any random person, they're gonna shoot you back.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
questions asked.
communication is key, and I know that he was, really trying to embrace it, really trying to start a really big, civil rights movement in a sense.
Yeah.
At Arc Raiders, because he's trying to make sure that every raider can make it back home to Speranza. And then it's terrible when a random strangers don't respect your advantage. I mean, do you feel that way even when you're playing solos? Because we all know with trios, it's like, no. It's fate on sight. But in solos, people kind of, tend to think that, this extract's big enough for the both of us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like the usual thing in solos is, oh, yeah, there's another person here. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? All right, now we're friends.
Yeah, not me
That's
though.
it. There's
If
just
you
a
do see
mutual
me online,
understanding.
trust me, I'm shooting on impact. I'll probably play. I'll
Come
make you
on,
take the lead
Chris.
in front, and then I'll cap you from behind with my anvil. Sorry, that just is what it is. Suckers be suckers, man. I'm watching Beast games, HenricK. I've seen guys turn down $1 million when $1 million in front of them. The cash prize is $5 million. You think that you would take fifth home the money, and you get to still keep playing in the game. So
Yeah, but you
that
can't even
alone
take
has
half their
trained me
loot
for Arc
because
Raiders.
there's
Okay.
limited storage space, man. Like you're just wasting resources.
But then it's
I
like
don't know, that's just how I think about it.
people don't see it like that, though, Henry. Clearly, they comment on the screen saying, "Why did they kill you? You had the advantage." So, with the one-tap policy, man, clearly there needs to be some better legislation. And then last, when people don't respect the one-tap policy, it irks me because it's how I hold the integrity in the game. We should be teaming up to kill the Ark, not each other. No, I'll be that guy. Nope. If you see me. Fade on sight. What would you do? Would you respect the one tap, or would you give it a triple tap?
I'll double it and give it to the next person.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Someone please start that. and then tag us. But we want to thank everybody for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show would not be possible without your support, gamers. And whether you're tuning in, whether it's Meta, Twitch, and YouTube, thank you so much. And so we're just going to highlight this QR code. This will send you directly to my YouTube channel. So screenshot it, hit it. Come on, work them gizmos.
And you see that glorious, glorious QR code down there. Yeah, that goes to my YouTube channel. So go ahead and scan that. You know what to do. Go watch some videos. Let me know how they are. I'm waiting.
That's right. And we're only getting started. This is only the beginning. So you ready to rock and roll, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh yeah, grab your grapple hooks because we're jumping into Mio Memories in Orbit.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Mio Memories in Orbit. What is Mio Memories in Orbit? It is a sci-fi Metroidvania with a unique aesthetic reminiscent of illustrations and comic books. In the game, you control a small robot named Mio. As Mio, your mission is to explore and restore the memories of the vessel, a spaceship overrun by vegetation and malfunctioning machines. You'll also have the usual Metroidvania abilities like a grapple, double jump, wall climb, and more to make exploration plentiful. As you explore, you'll come across various different difficult scenarios, from boss fights to platforming, all while a killer soundtrack plays. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Man, another Metroidvania. Doesn't it feel like Metroidvanias are just like a bread and butter genre of the indie scene? Wouldn't you think so, Chris?
Well, I just feel like, with the success of Silk Song, a lot of people are really getting excited all over again to embrace, this platform gaming that's beyond just a Nintendo world, right? And so when you get a kind of style of game where it makes you imagine, what if I woke up in space with no memories, a dying ship, and the creeping suspicion that everything around you is either broken, angry, or both, right, HenricK? Cool? No pressure, right? No, not so fast.
Yeah, and that is pretty much a typical thing for the Metroidvania scene, where the game will drop you in to an environment and you don't really know what's going on. You kind of have to piece it together yourself, or if you do have a backstory, somehow you don't have anything that you did in the previous games if this is a sequel, or you just start with nothing. It's in the title, Metroid. What game does that? Metroid.
Yeah, I mean, it grabbed from inspiration from previous games that we all adore, and clearly you could see it with this game. The developers put a lot of heart into this, and yeah, you're right, HenricK.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be dropping into the metal bones of what they call the vessel. It's this colossal technological arc that's drifting through space that looks like it lost a fight with time, I would say, nature, and its own security system in a sense, right, HenricK? And so when a game drops you into
I was going to say, visually, they really show and drive home the point that at the end of the day, when you and I are both long gone. Nature reclaims everything
Yeah.
because
Abs-
nature has reclaimed the ship entirely.
And when a game drops you into a mystery as thick, like right at the start of the gate, right? Are you immediately hooked or suspicious that it'll be like another cliche sci-fi story? Because that's kind of how I felt like in the beginning. I was like, oh man, I think I feel like I've heard this kind of story before. But then once the narrative starts to unfold, like you're piecing together a diary that's been shredded and then launched into zero gravity, you start to really get hooked as playing as Mio.
Yeah, it is definitely slow to start off with the story because you start with no understanding of what's going on. You got to visually put things together of what's happened to this ship, the vessel.
Well, you know what's
And
kind of funny, HenricK? I don't mean to
yeah.
cut you off, but it's like this whole game's all about forgetting memories. Didn't it feel
Mhm.
like the first 45 minutes made you feel like you forgot how to play a platform game? It took
Yeah.
so long
Yeah.
just to kick into the. I was like, man, this is a long tutorial, but it's a mission, but it's quite long.
hmm Yeah, and like you said, when you hit around the halfway point of, I would say this being about like a 15, maybe a little bit more hour-long game, just for the story itself, it does definitely click everything in place for you, and you start to be like, okay, actually, this game is sick. Like
Yeah.
I'm really digging this, and that's already on top of you being presented with a really cool visual art style and very, very solid gameplay on top of that. Where, yeah, it's not as hard as Silk Song, but it doesn't need to be as hard as Silk Song to be fun.
Right.
And it's still challenging. It's not like you're not going to be walking into a room with a boss and maybe dying to that boss a few times before you actually take him down, or trying to do some platforming and failing the platforming a few
No,
times.
well,
That
there's
definitely happened
definitely
to
some
me.
pain in the ass bosses that I encounter. I'm blanking out right now. It was either like these guys named Solar Vin. I know that
Oh,
they are
yeah.
highlighting that there's like over 30 different enemy types. 15 guardian bosses that you'll encounter. There's even a secret
hmm
boss, by the way. You think even when the credits roll that the game's over? No, 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 no. Holy moly. And I think that's what makes it so freaking good is that a lot of people probably finished the game and didn't even realize it's like, holy cow, there's a lot more that you can unpack inside of this game because it's like you said, HenricK, it's like the vessel, it turns into like the universe's most expensive abandoned project, and you're trying to piece
hmm
together what happened to this permanent space junk that's
Yeah.
collapsing all around you. And you're just
Yeah,
this little nibble
and
android.
yeah, you really are just a small little robot exploring everything. But that, in a way, it helps you visualize as well how grand of a stage you've been thrust into, where this ship is massive. Like, not
Yeah.
only just because you're a small little robot, but just it is a massive ship in general. And as a result of that, there's plenty to explore, which is typical for a Metroidvania, but that's not a
But
bad
sometimes
thing.
you're even like stuck just looking at the backgrounds. I mean, a lot of the game feels like it's a
hmm
sci-fi graphic novel soaked in watercolor. I mean, you're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
see a
I
lot
could
of like
easily
splat.
take a screenshot from anywhere in this game, and that would be a killer background to have on my computer.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely really cool color palettes in the game, splashed with these purples and reds and yellows that really make the vessel feel alien and alive in a
hmm
sense, even though there's a lot of dying robotics happening all around you. And like you said, at its core, it's very Metrovania. It demands that precision and patience. It will reward you for the flow. And yeah, some of those cool mechanics will be, grapple, glide. I mean, even before you started the segment, probably a lot of people were like, wait, we're covering Arc Raiders all over again, especially with the grapple hook. But no, how did you feel with the whole idea with like backtracking? Because like that's a big factor in this
hmm
game, where especially when you're going through those cracked corridors, they got vents and the ruins, and yeah, you're going to be upgrading Mio, scavenging for these enemy parts and stacking modifiers that actually do change how you play. But how did you like that kind of progression? Because I feel like it works for this game, but not every game for me. Sometimes I'm like, I want to see something new every chapter, in a
Yeah, that's
sense.
fair. It's totally understandable to want to see something new when you unlock something like a new ability that unlocks more things to do. yeah, let's just move forward is the idea in a lot of games. But in this genre, it's typical that you'll come across something and you'll be like, huh, I can't interact with this yet. And then a couple hours later, you
Yeah.
get an ability and you're like, ah, now it clicks in my head. This
Right.
ability I got, I can now go back to this thing I found 2 hours ago and I can unlock it. When you have that flow, the backtracking ends up becoming actually really rewarding because you start to mentally uh, click in your head, oh, okay, this is the linear path they want me to go, even though it's not actually linear necessarily
Right.
in the sense of like a line through the map. It's just linearly you go from here to here.
Yeah,
to
and I would
here, to
also say
here.
too, I feel like the Guardian bosses in game are very rewarding, especially when you have to do the
Oh, yeah.
backtracking. So like once you get to that like one stump in the road, I suppose, you know, was there a certain boss that really stuck out to you? I mean, Atmos was pretty hilarious. Naboo, you know, that like gold
Naboo
white
is a good
hair, you
one.
know, like
Yeah.
reindeer or deer in a sense, and then Soul and Vin, holy cow, probably the biggest pain in the ass in game. And then there's others, but I don't want to say their names because they would
Yeah, you don't really want to spoil too much
Too
of
much,
the
right.
boss fights because you know you guys really should
you got to pick up the pieces, gamers.
experience it yourself.
Exactly.
But, yeah, Soul and Vin were definitely a standout for me. Also, I would say.
But I would say, though, HenricK, I mean, as Mio regains memories, the narrative slowly tightens. I mean, by the second half, things start clicking in a way that recontextualizes everything that you've been doing. And so, HenricK, did you feel that moment where the game quietly flips the table of, like, what you thought was going on, did that work for you? Because, you know, without trying to say too much, but, I mean, I personally felt like the last 3 hours is the best part of the ride in this game,
Yeah.
for sure.
No, I agree. I agree. There is a huge payoff at that last arc.
I feel
of
like
the
you looked at
story.
me like you just set me up for it, like to be the guy that spoils the game.
Yeah, don't say too much, you know, because you know don't want to spoil it. But yeah, like that last arc of the game really is the big payoff, and it doesn't always work with stories to have a big payoff at the end when the pacing is maybe a little slow up until
Right.
that point. But what really keeps you hooked up until you start to piece things together and get hooked on the story is the intrigue of what's going on and also the gameplay keeping you entertained. And then the story, when it starts to kick in, like, okay, now this game is awesome.
Yeah. I'm with you, HenricK. I feel like Mio, Memories in Orbit, sticks the landing with smart design, it's confident storytelling, and just a world that rewards curiosity without holding your hand. And I think that's what makes it great. And so for me, this is absolutely a repeat. You're going to have a blast playing this game. But then I got to hand it to you, HenricK the Wreck. What's the verdict from your end?
Yeah, this is an absolute repeat as well for me. I love me a good Metroidvania, and this is definitely one to keep in your back pocket when you ever want to just spend some
Funny
time.
that you said that back pocket
do
because
that
this is
all
like the
over
perfect
again.
game. If you're traveling,
Oh yeah, it's
you know
great
what
for
I mean?
the Steam
Like,
Deck.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely perfect.
This would be this game is really perfect for that. It should sell very very well on Nintendo as well, I would think. You know, and then
Yes.
obviously the PS Portal kind of needs to figure it out. But yeah, you can still be a couch potato, grind it out like I did. See, you know, we're still out there, Gam. But tell us, gamers, are you diving into Mio Memories in Orbit to unravel the vessel secrets, or are you settling your sights on another adventure in your backlog galaxy? Because that's starting to be what it looks like. Thousands of little mini planets or video games that have been lost and unexplored. Let us know what's good. But man, we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, so stick around, gamers. And HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, let's get it started, Chris, because we got a lot to go over.
Let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. All right, gamers, February has arrived and showed up like, relax, I know, I might be short, but I can sure as hell hit hard, okay? So this month is stacked with launches that feel less like a warm-up and more like the opening cinematic to a very loud year in gaming. And even January, I thought was pretty stellar. I mean, we highlighted some pretty bitching games other than, some people just didn't like High Guard, apparently. But, hey, they're slowly molded. But one of these might even go down as an all-timer this month, and no pressure, right? Let's jump in. But the first one up is Neo 3. It walks in fully aware of the impossible expectations and says, yeah, cool, I'll raise you one. And this time around, it opens things up with a larger maps that actually let you breathe, poke around, and choose your own suffering. I mean, that is the real hook, that instant that they're bringing this idea, HenricK, where they're doing this swapping between the samurai and ninja combat styles mid-fight. And whether that's going to work out, we're going to have to soon find out.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? But I guess but the question is for you, the gamers. Are you mastering both styles with purpose, or are you going to be panic switching when things just don't go your way? And it will. It definitely will go sideways in this game, I bet. So let's go ahead and check it out.
This is very exciting that there's a third entry in this series, because 1 and 2 are always highly regarded as like a very complex Souls-like experience. And something that really sticks out to me is bringing up Neo 2 with a friend of mine and him being like, yeah, man, I tried playing that game. And then several hours in, the game just started to be really mean to me. Like I started to just have really unfair fights. I'm like, yep, that's
I relate to that pain. Yeah, I've always felt like this series is a pain in the ass, quite frankly, but it is very, very addicting. I mean, there's the trial and error is something that I know a lot of gamers are willing to go through this very depressing grinding session with this trilogy coming up really, really soon. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really remarkable. I'm really curious to see how the playstyle works out with the samurai and ninja. I think it's gonna be very catered towards certain bosses, so you can't be just locked to one style the entire run. And so that's why I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this. And oh my gosh, it's coming out pretty freaking soon, because Neo 3 launches on PS5 and PC on February 6th. It's literally days away. And next up, the universe is once again falling apart, but at least it's loud about it. High on Life 2 doubles down on the absurdity with more talking guns voiced by actual comedians, and I think that's what made the game so freaking stellar, was a lot of the commentary and very slapstick, first-person shooter that came with it, because silence was never the goal with this game. And I feel like the big twist this time around is going to be the skateboard and how they will use this. And they're claiming that it's going to change how you move through this bizarre alien worlds that you will encounter. I mean, they're turning traversal into part of the joke, HenricK. And will they nail that? Is it going to be like a little Tony Hawk Pro Skater, or is it just going to be just like, oh, wow, you're just gliding a little bit faster than normal? It's like a Black Ops 6 game. We'll soon find out, right?
Yeah. And we'll see also if the jokes are even better this time around.
That's true.
Sure,
I mean, there's some pretty legendary guys. I can't remember their guys' name, with the redhead and the blue guy that's holding the gate to the sewage or whatever line. That thing was hilarious. But you're going to be shooting, you're going to be stabbing, you're going to be skating, you're going to get roasted by your own weaponry while trying to save humanity. But be honest, gamers, are you here for the story, or are you here to just know what the hell the guns are going to be complaining about this time around when you're aiming at maybe their loved ones or their gun buddy? Let's go ahead and check out some gameplay.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of talking in this game. A lot of dialogue between the guns themselves, talking to you, talking to each other. Might not be for everyone as a result of that. If you don't really like a lot of
Really,
talking,
I feel like
but
this game is
the
just like super
gameplay,
fun.
You,
It's gonna
you
be
can
for
kind of ignore the
everybody.
guns.
All the stoners, all the drunks, all the couch potatoes. You're gonna love it. I'm sure there's gonna be another bong at the living room table. Okay, like this game was freaking hilarious. I loved it. It's very Ratchet and Clank. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it doesn't take
yeah.
itself seriously. I think it was really, really fun. The opening was hilarious. And will they save the humans this time? We're gonna have to soon find out, because if it's just the alien race, that get a little boring, right? I mean, us humans, we make the world revolve. And so High on Life 2 launches on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS, including a day one release on the Xbox Game Pass, if you want to go down that route, on February 13th. So very exciting. And I know HenricK's got his eye on this one for quite some time. And finally, when a survival horror royalty shows up, the temperature drops, wouldn't you say, HenricK? Because Resident Evil Requiem is just right. I mean, Resident Evil Requiem just coasting isn't just coasting on its name. It's splitting its focus on purpose. You got Grace, where her section is to learn, or no, not learn. She's going to be leaning hard into fear, vulnerability, and that classic tension straight out of the series roots, channeling the unease of the original game alongside Resident Evil 2 and 7. And then there's Leon Kennedy, which a lot of gamers were very, very excited to see him start to show up, like the second or third trailer, hyping up this game. And his chapters are supposed to flip things totally backwards. I mean, or upside down. I mean, he's going to be very action forward. The intensity is going to be real. I mean, it perfectly lines up with, let's say, Resident Evil 4's legacy. So we got two protagonists, two philosophies, and one franchise refusing to sit still. So which side are you ready more for? I mean, I think we all know. But then again, being scared to move or being armed to the teeth. So let's go ahead and check out Resident Evil Requiem.
The boy is back, except he's a man this time, not a boy. And I'm definitely going to be picking this up day one. I'm going to be busy at the end of the month.
Did you see what they released earlier this week when it came to this short film hyping up Resident Evil Requiem?
Oh,
and there's a lot of commentary online where people feel like they see this particular shadow maybe hiding behind, let's say, a Raccoon City police car. Do you really believe the Nemesis might make a return to Requiem?
Right, maybe. That
Do we
is
think that?
a
Do we really
mechanic
think?
that
And then
hasn't
again,
come back for a while at this point. The whole, Mr. X.
and I
X
guess
don't give it to you type thing.
it was so good in Resident Evil 2, and I thought they did a good job in Remake, even though I know some people have a little bit of, discourse with some of the choices of leaving certain things out. But, would that be a smart decision to bring back a fan favorite, or do they need to embrace going in with something completely different and just derailing everybody, expectations, and just be like, wow, what the hell did I play?
Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt to bring something back like that, but maybe I'm okay with them doing something new, or maybe curtailing everyone's expectations and saying, yeah, we're bringing this back. And then they bring it back, and it's like, aha, actually, yoink. Now this new thing is in place of it.
See, that's funny that you said that, because I think that's funny that you said that, because I know with The Last of Us Part 2, remember they did something very similar with their trailer where they made it seem like a certain scene where Joel was actually in the forest when they came across, certain particular people in game, and it wasn't. It was I'm blanking out on the Asian character's name right now, but you guys know the point. If you played The Last of Us, help us out in the chat. But again, we're here to discuss Resident Evil Requiem, and this game, it's going to be launching on PC, PS5, Xbox Series XS, and Nintendo Switch 2 on February 27th. So, oh my gosh, we have to wait until towards the end of the month.
The end of the month.
Oh my, I cannot wait to get my hands all over this game. And now it's your turn, gamers. February is loaded, and we know we didn't get to hit on everything, but if there's a game this month that you're counting down the days for, give it a shout out. Let us know what's good. But HenricK the Wreck, what's the latest tech curveball that's making studios sweat and gamers squint at their feeds? Break it down.
Well, it came from Google this time, and they put out an announcement. And later, the stock charts for Take-Two Interactive, Roblox, CD Projekt Red, and Unity all decided to nosedive at the same time.
That's
So
pretty
what did
crazy.
they even announce? Because
Yeah.
what would they announce that would just do that?
Right.
Well, in an industry already riddled with layoffs, Project Genie feels less like a creative assistant and more like an AI quietly eyeing jobs in testing and early concept work. And you know what? It's better to just visualize why it's such a thing that can affect stocks like this. So we got a video. So let's go ahead and just take a look at it.
Let's get it.
Did Google just let the genie out of the bottle? Because I mean, I don't think anyone can deny that these look really detailed for being something that was just generated on the fly.
Well, Google
So-
does say that they took the current form of Project Genie by getting a large data set of over 200,000 hours of publicly available internet gaming videos. But everybody else that, I don't know, would they get slapped with copyrights? Clearly the AI agents have a way around this, HenricK.
somehow. But we'll
Somehow,
see if the
somehow.
law catches up on that.
Yeah, for
But
real.
gamers, is this the next great tool for building worlds? Or the moment the industry hit the "Are we sure about this" screen before pressing the continue button?
Fair enough, HenricK. And so let's go ahead and dive right on in, because the first comment says more about the investors investing in them. Anything else? With the follow-up comment that reads, straight up, seems like the average VC large investor nowadays is generally brain dead. They don't even care to do basic math anymore. The entire stock market is vibes at this point. And ending with another gamer that reads, they don't need to do the math. The goal isn't sustainable long-term investments. It's riding the wave and not being caught holding the bag at the end of the day. Is it really about that? Is it just kind of catching vibes, or are we really starting to see where the industry actually is going? Because I've been saying this for the last 6 months, HenricK. If you're a 2D artist, you need to really embrace the new learning curve, because it's like, yeah, your artistry is very much valued, right? But now with these new tools, just to be able to why do you think Larian Studios is now retracting back and going, "Damn, we do make massive worlds, man. We might need we might need this tool for Divinity, just so we can convince some of the people around us that it's like, this is the idea that we're building, but trust me, we're not going to use the generative AI. We're going to still, digitally hand draw it, but this is just to guys give you an idea about what we're thinking. Text format being generated into an image. I mean, we're going off of vibes.
It is intriguing that clearly the big players in AI like Google, they definitely want this to be a tool that is implemented by people, and that means that they essentially want people to generate worlds using this tool and think less about generating it from their head, from scratch. And that sounds kind of scary to a lot of people, and also to me in some respect also. Like, I can appreciate that it is kind of cool that they can do this, that the tech exists, but at the same time, my worry is it going to hinder creative expression? Because clearly in the video we even saw, there's things in there that are inspired and ripped probably even entirely off of Minecraft and
Right.
other games as well. And it's because these models have to train on something. They
Yeah.
can't just make something up on their own. They have to be inspired by something. And you can say, yeah, everyone gets inspired by something else already. So this is kind of just speeding it up. But there's something to be said about a person being inspired and making something, and there being the creative expression of that through the process, as
Yeah.
opposed to let me hit a button here and then it makes something that is inspired by something else.
Yeah, but
It's
you
a
also
little
get the
different.
we also get the critics that are like, oh man, if there's AI, I'm never playing the game. And I've always stood by like, hey, listen, if the game was developed with AI and it plays and it's a lot of fun, you're gonna generally play it. It's just like how we see a lot of AI slop that shows up on our feed, especially on X recently, where you're gonna get like some silly
Mhm.
Jeffrey Epstein video, and you're like, holy cow! And then you're locked watching this video for like the full minute because you're just like amazed at like some of this production that you only thought Hollywood studios could do. And now everybody's got the tools to be able to make it happen even in their own home studio. So it's a crazy time to be in. But then you also get comments that read, good time to buy the dip, I guess, laughing out loud, with the follow-up comment that reads, I hate speculative capitalism, but shit like this keeps bending over. I mean, Google will probably can this shit within a year, and ending with another gamer that reads, imagine the amount of money it costs to run this crap every second, and for what? So a bunch of bozos can type in a prompt and pretend to be a game designers for a day?
What's so funny about this comment saying that Google is going to can it in a year? I don't think that they're entirely just saying that because, like, oh, the AI bubble is going to pop, which it feels like we're right on the precipice of that happening. But it's also because Google has a really bad track record of starting a really cool project and then deciding later on, however long, a year, 2 years, 5 years, saying, yeah, actually, we're not going to do this anymore. We're just going to shut it down. Look at Stadia, for example.
Yeah,
They were
fair
really,
enough.
really behind Stadia, and then it didn't do well. And they said, yeah, pull the plug, done with it. So,
But there's definitely
who's to
this.
say that this will stay around? Maybe they'll, especially if the bubble does pop, this will go away, probably.
Well, it was like everybody was in an uproar over Adobe Flash and then Adobe Animate, and then Animate was going to get scrapped, earlier this week. And then there was so much backlash because they're like, holy cow, there are still 2D artists out there today making some of your favorite kids' cartoon shows with that kind of style of software. And we are creative artists that still do not want to embrace this new AI change. But clearly there is this push, there is this new momentum happening in the creative space that truly feel like games like the Super Mario and Legends of Zelda and a lot of other greats that we love can really embrace tools like this with Project Genie to help elevate and resemble some of those worlds that game developers want to create, but they don't necessarily have all the time to be able to present it in, I don't know, a 1 week turnaround. Maybe they can create it with the text prompt and then the image kind of gives them a certain layout and then the creativity comes in. But then I guess the real question for a lot of people is, when does the buck stop, right? If it's
Yeah.
only for concept, well, when does it end? And I totally get that. But then you also get stuff like this that reads, all this tool does is create interactable videos, rendering frames as you quote unquote move. It's not actually a game. There's no plot, no functionality, and no gameplay unless you enjoy walking on an empty space with little interactability. All it has going on is novelty factor. Basically, Google has created 90s full motion videos again, but shittier. And it's like, I think that's why people are saying it's not quite there yet. It's not like this is a tool where someone's going to create the next great sandbox interactive experience in Fortnite or Minecraft or Roblox using Project Genie. No. It's not quite there yet, but it's definitely starting to shape into something so crazy and remarkable. I mean, the fact that you can be on a website, HenricK, and start putting in a text prompt, and then you're randomly walking around a world. I mean, they had videos of like GTA Greenland or Iceland. You saw the skier there. You're thinking like, that is so crazy cool to think that they can prompt something up that fast when you and I were playing on shittier graphics about 20 years ago. I don't know if the youth thinks this is as cool as maybe what we grew up on. But then again, I'm phoning a friend. I mean, you guys like those old polygons, or are you thinking this kind of shit is like, no, 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 no. Like, I can't embrace this quite yet. And then the last comment reads, these investors are on some strong shit if they think gamers are going to buy AI-made slop instead of quality, passion-driven games. So there you have it. There is a lot of people that have a lot to say when it comes to this topic. And
Which is a
Henry,
valid argument as well. I would say, not want to buy into it.
yeah,
I don't
but
really buy into it myself all the way either.
oh,
I think it's
the
cool.
baloney,
but-
baloney. Really, Henrik, when you're lost in the concrete jungle in LA, who are you reaching out to? You know what I mean? Like, you're either gonna Google it, you got an artificial intelligence even in there. Siri, hello. You know what I mean?
You know
like,
what, Chris? I have survival skills. Okay, let me tell
Oh.
you now. I have survivals. I can coordinate where I am based on the sun, the stars, and everything.
oh my gosh, you sounded like a guy I had to deal with at my liquor store on Sunday. Oh my gosh. Hey, what's the time on the clock? Oh, let me check the moon. I'm like, man, well, let's talk about something else. We're talking games. But yeah, it's a great point. I mean, right now it's only creating these interactive experiences that are only 60 seconds long, so it's not totally quite flushed out. But I mean, is Project Genie going to soon be used as a tool inside Unreal Engine 5 and the likes of many others? That's what we want to know from you, the gamers. Do you truly believe that this will be a powerful developer tool that speeds up creativity, or the opening cutscene to a future nobody queued up for? Let us know what's good. But let's keep things rolling because let's get that lower third off because we're going to switch to the next topic of conversation because the Nintendo Switch just climbed the sales mountain, planted a flag, and politely waved at the DS as it passed by, now sitting at over 155 million consoles and moving 1.5 billion games like it's handing them out at a family reunion. Like, I feel like that's the only way possible. Maybe they gave all the employers like 5 different games or consoles, and they're like, you get one, everybody gets one. I wish I was a part of the Oprah Winfrey experience. I mean, it's insane. I mean, as much as it's fun to tease Nintendo every once in a while for being like, wow,
you would
you have
actually enjoy having a Switch then, because clearly it seems you never do want to have a Switch.
But, there are legendary games a part of this platform, right, HenricK? I mean, you get in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that was cruising past 70 million copies. And then Animal Crossing New Horizons is flirting with 50 million. So that's less successful console and more just an entire civilization, okay, that embraced Nintendo. And so, gamers, is Nintendo Switch's success more about its games or the fact that you can play them literally anywhere? I'm curious on what people have to say about this. So let's go ahead and dive into the comments because we have more. And this first one starts it off by saying, let's be honest with ourselves. Switch has outsold PS2. I don't give a damn how much Sony fudges their numbers. And that's always kind of funny because, like, I guess there was a point in time where Nintendo Switch did announce that they had higher numbers than the PS2, and then I guess Sony clapped back within a week later and was like, no,
They said, actually, we didn't report this small subset of numbers, and here we are.
But what's more remarkable, like the climb that the PlayStation 2 had, or what the Nintendo Switch had its impact on this, I would say, like a newer generation of gamers in a sense.
Yeah, I would say
we did have the
Switch has
PlayStation.
been really influential in its lifespan, just by merit of it being a handheld console that is a hybrid, in the sense you can take it to go with you and play games, or you can dock it at home.
Right.
And that by itself killed off like all the handhelds from other
Absolutely great
console
point.
manufacturers for a long time, until only recently, I would say, with things like the Steam Deck coming about, that gave more competition in
and more
slightly
confidence
market,
moving forward in a
different,
sense. But like you think about even back in the day with Sony and PlayStation, they lost all faith in the PSP and the PS Vita. And I remember growing up, like the PSP was the shit. And so when Nintendo Switch started to kick into high gear, I mean, that was like, wow, we really are meeting this new frontier of being able to leave the couch to go touch grass.
Yeah.
In a sense, on the go. And, we also get comments that read, Switch 2 has officially outsold the Wii U's total lifetime sales in only 7 months. That's kind of wild. I mean, the Wii U over 13.5 million in 4 years, the Switch 2 over 17 million in 7 months. And so when you see numbers like that, HenricK, I mean, are you genuinely surprised, or you're like, nah, it's only gonna be speeding up more than ever?
Comparing to the Wii U, I'm not surprised based on how much of a commercial failure the Wii U was. Part of it being probably the naming scheme of it. I'm sure a lot of parents saw Wii and then the Wii U, and they're like, is this just an add-on
They
to the
just forgot
Wii?
the
You already have a
right,
Wii,
exactly.
You don't need
this seems
the
very
Wii U.
confusing. Yeah, you don't
they
need that.
messed up there. And they also didn't have that many
it's funny that you say that, because
standout games.
You saw it with Overwatch too. Now they're dropping the 2 and just calling it Overwatch, and they're like, "Wow, we got all these." So there's
They
a lot
know
of
they
wordplay
messed
going
up.
on. Yeah, there's a lot of wordplay happening in the industry at this time. And then you also get a comment that reads, I sat through 3 months of Nintendo fans, channels, etc., saying this was a bad holiday, and Nintendo's going to have a rough second year, and it still sold 7 million more last holiday. Nintendo does stupid decisions, but the hate and worry is so sensationalized. It's not even funny anymore. No, it's perfectly justifiable. I don't care what anybody says, and I don't even really give a damn what he thinks. Nintendo still should be clowned for how expensive they're making video games right now. And and the Nintendo Switch 2 is probably only going to outpace it more, especially when they still have that beautiful bundle where they throw in the new Mario Kart in it. But now that they're entering year 2, the Switch 2, going back to the Nintendo Switch, it's only going to elevate even more in sales, because maybe people that were on the edge about being like, man, I've been an Xbox, PlayStation guy for so long and never wanted to really dive into Nintendo, but I miss that old school childhood nostalgia. Those devices are going to drop in price because they're going to be anticipating y'all to get that upgrade. Do you see that happening potentially, HenricK?
Yeah, potentially, but it all really depends on the demand. But then again, the demand does seem to be that, if you're going to get a Nintendo console now, you're not getting any older ones unless you were a fan of them, like the retro ones or anything like that. You're just going to go get the Switch 2. It's the one that makes the most sense to get. And all the Switch 1 games are compatible on it also, so you might as well just get the Switch 2.
Yeah, you're like, I need it now. I know it does feel tough nowadays to be like, oh, gosh, man, do I pay the extra $150 to get the next thing? I think I might have to do that. But then the last comment reads, we may have lost the battle with the Wii U bros, but not the war. We can still outsell the Switch 2 when all is said and done. Yeah, good luck, buddy. So some people are still living by those beloved gems that, so priceless. And so, HenricK, did the Nintendo Switch win because it's brilliant, or because it's basically a handheld couch potato?
Yeah, I would say it's really because of, going back to it, the whole hybrid function of it, where you can just take it with you. You don't have to be stuck with it at home. It's something that the other console manufacturers don't really offer in the same way. I mean, yeah, there's technically that PlayStation Portal, but that's not the same, because you're not actually playing the game on the device. You're just streaming it over the internet. And technically, you can say, well, if you have an Xbox, you can play the Xbox games on Game Pass through the Xbox Cloud Gaming. That's not the same either, man.
It's not the same either, and they have exclusives, right? I mean, people get really, really excited. I mean, one of the other games that we didn't reference was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that sold 37 million. I was actually kind of surprised when I saw that number. I was like, wow, Animal Crossing actually did sell way more than Super Smash Bros. I was actually genuinely surprised. I thought it would have been...
People go crazy for it.
Yeah, I mean, they really, really do. I mean, the numbers showed. I mean, I was very, very surprised by that. But I think that's where Nintendo clearly wins. And then I think now that they've entered the space of cinema, and people are getting really, really excited for the sequel with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, coming out real soon. And I don't know about the whole Zelda and Link thing. I'm starting to lose faith a little bit in a sense, but a little bit. It's a after I watched the Fallout season finale, I was like, I love that a lot more than I'm loving some of the screenshots. But then again, only time will tell. I have to judge the product once I see it from point A all the way to point B, from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. But yeah, it really is remarkable. And yeah, the console did perform really, really well, by the way, during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think that played a big factor. I mean, especially when it launched in 2017, and it nearly sold 50 million consoles during that 2-year period during COVID, which mobile device, we're locked at home, and it still made that happen. And we're talking about being able to move on the go. That's pretty remarkable. And so tell us, gamers, I mean, did Nintendo create the most parent-approved console of all time? Or did they just nail something that gamers have been asking for a very, very long time? Let us know what's good. But all right, HenricK the Wreck, we got a digital town hall meeting that is happening on Reddit. So break it down.
Well, Reddit is doing what it does best, putting on a powdered wig and holding court over games the internet decided to dogpile years ago. So, somewhere out there is a title you'll defend, like a launch day purchase receipt, no matter how loud the boos get. But gamers, what's the game you'll go to your digital grave swearing was misunderstood?
Yeah, I mean, think real hard about this, because I don't know why. I was like, it took me a while to think of a really hateful game that everybody hated. I mean, obviously, think about it. You got time, because we're going to be rolling through some of the top posts on this Reddit thread. And the first one was Escape from Tarkov. It deserves way more hate than it gets. So he didn't really answer the question. You know what I mean? He just added on to it, being like, no, it should be
Some
hated
people
more.
do really hate the game, though.
I feel like
maybe it's from frustration of playing it, though.
Or maybe that they have a little bit of ties to the allegiance of Russia. I thought that developer got in a little bit of trouble over that kind of stuff. I could be wrong. I feel like that's what this comment is directed towards, because I feel like a lot of people do love Escape from Tarkov. It has been getting updates, but when your politics, sometimes bleed into the social media feeds, sometimes it's just best to just keep it to your chest sometimes. I don't know, but I had to have I have no more information about that guy other than some of the blurb that I see online revolving around him and obviously the game that he created and still making waves right now. But let's keep it moving, because the other one was Fallout 4. It's actually really fun with the follow-up comment that reads, yeah, I get some of the complaints, but God, some people act like it's an abomination that tarnished all existence. The story is okay, and the gunplay was far better than the previous 2 games. I hope Fallout 5 can improve gunplay further as well. I think this is a first for me. I've never heard of this being as a hated game.
Oh, really? Really?
I'm being serious. Yeah, I've never heard of this. I'm being dead serious. I was shocked.
I honestly believe that if they come out with Elder Scrolls 6 eventually, the hate that it's going to get is going to be very similar to the hate that this got when it came out, because people were comparing it to Fallout 3 and being like, or not even just Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas as well. And they were like, yeah, but you ruined this. You ruined this. People are going to say that about Elder Scrolls 6 also. They're going to compare it to the previous titles and say, you ruined this lore. You ruined this mechanic. You ruined this. It sucks.
Well,
but then they're going to come back and be like, actually, the game is all right.
Well, the Skyrim lead designer was trending this week when he was trying to defend Avowed, and he's like, listen, or Starfield, excuse me. He was Starfield, and he was talking about, Bethesda and going, listen, if it was any other studio that made Starfield, they would be celebrating this game. But the fact that the expectations are so high with the studio, we trash every little tiny mechanic in game because we expect so much from them. And it's going to be the same thing that Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive is going to receive when it comes with Grand Theft Auto 6. They're still banking on the game dropping at the end of the year. I have a feeling that they're lying. But then again, we'll see. I mean, we're going to have to soon find out. Yeah, I mean, wow. HenricK, I guess, is one of those guys that was hating on it a little bit. I think he's telling me something. I'm hurt. I'm hurt because I love Fallout. And then you also get Dark Souls 2. Some complaints are totally valid. Others get half made up based on half remembered mechanics in a video the person heard of but didn't watch. Also, power stancing is sick.
This is a really, really funny one because, like the comment said, some people just make up stuff based on what they've thought they've seen or heard. And it's like, yeah, that's not really true, but people do it on the converse side as well. Like, yeah, but the game was peak because this thing happened and it never happened.
No, I
It's
would
like a
say the hate.
joke
I
in
would
the
say the hate
Souls
is real because
community
I used to look at
entirely.
that. I used to look at that cover and go, "Yeah, it's a really badass cover," and it just kept collecting dust and dust and dust because every time I popped that disc in, I kept getting my ass kicked in that game. And then I realized I was like, "Holy cow!" At the age that I was in, this is not my game, and I was like, "I hate this game." And then as we get older, our skills start to develop over time. Wow, I was a young adolescent turning into an Elden Lord at one point. No, not really. I'm not that kind of person, but I like to think I am.
Yeah,
But
there's
Dark
also
Souls
just
2
some
is
really
not for everybody.
funny moments in this whole game where it's just like, what choice was this to like
Yeah,
make
like
a,
some of the tomfoolery in game that
character
just
like
really pisses off your
wait
flow.
until it actually swings. But I'm thinking that the telegraph is going to come any moment, and then now it comes, and it's like,
Right,
all
or you're dying in like the stupidest ways. I hate that stuff, man.
or that,
and,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
get a game called Evolve, right? I mean, gosh, it's been a long time since I've heard of this game. When it was fun, it was freaking fun. It needs a sequel to iron out the kinks, give Matt Colville the whole game. He's a smart cookie. He can do it. All right. And then another comment that reads, I remember hearing how bad of a game it was. I think one day I saw Ko was streaming it, and I remember watching him and thinking, wow, man, this looks kind of fun. So I said, F it. I think I played all weekend, barely sleeping. It was so much fun. Shit, I even played on a private server. Oh, I would play, excuse me, on a private server if it was possible. Well, if Stop Killing Games goes through, you might be
Then
able to do
maybe.
it. But yeah, Evolved. Yeah, very unique. It's been forever. Yeah, very ancient relic. Indeed. And then you get Final Fantasy 15. It was a really fun bro trip game.
Oh.
It delivered on that for me. Henrik's already rolling his eyes and slouching in his chair. But the first Final Fantasy to make me cry at the final camp, man. Sheesh. The floor is yours, Henrik.
Just, oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Brother.
Man, this, like, I get it. There's some really cool moments about this game and some really cool emotional beats also, because you get to, this is a game about hanging out with the boys,
Boy.
You get to enjoy the camaraderie of everyone, but at the same time,
boys.
especially if you played this game when it first came out, oh man, did you have a bad experience. They
Yeah,
pulled
yeah.
the thing where it's like in the middle of the story, oh yeah, this section we just cut between, yeah, you're not gonna see that until the DLC comes out. Have fun.
Yeah. I mean, we
That's-
have
that's
soft
really
launch, but what do we
shitty.
call that? I know I hate stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes with modern gaming, man, you just go when you're playing a game that feels like it should have been with the base game. That is probably
Yeah.
the most frustrating thing ever. You are so freaking right about that, Henrik. And then the last game in this Reddit post was people circle jerked each other into oh wait, pause. What the hell? Hold it. Okay. Okay. I will read what the person said. It's not my words.
All
It's
right,
this
Chris.
person. Okay. People circle jerked each
Maturity.
other into frenzy for over the ending to Mass Effect 3. It wasn't great, but it wasn't worth the level of hate it got. With the follow-up comment that reads, people weren't mad about the endings themselves. It was just the fact that it was basically the same cutscene with different colors, which is super low effort and deserves to be criticized when everything that came before it was top-notch. Yeah, I get that
I mean,
criticism.
that is a fair criticism.
It's a hell of a ride. Does the game still hold up to this day? I don't know. Phoning a friend.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
been
know.
a long time since I played it, so I don't know. I'd have to go back and
Yeah, I mean, people are
experience
getting
it again.
super excited after the season finale of Fallout. That we didn't get the remastered like some people were hoping for. But you could still travel that wasteland. Maybe Mass Effect might be that game that we're all sleeping on again. But Henrik, let me throw it to you because, I mean, which game are you defending forever, even if the internet never forgives you?
So I'm gonna say for this one, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. More people like it nowadays than when it came out because they've gone back and realized, oh, actually, this game is really good. But especially when the game had just come out, everyone just hated the fact that they switched from the more realistic dark tone of art style to this kind of like cell shaded, cartoonish almost looking style, which really holds up visually even to this day because of it being so stylized. But everyone hated that they changed that because they thought that they were taking the game series in a much more child-friendly tone. Which, I mean, come on, guys, it's Nintendo. It's a Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, right,
It's not
exactly.
really meant to be the darkest game out there in the
But
first
you know,
place.
they could take a
But,
gamble, and they kind of did that
yeah.
a little bit later on. Yep.
Yeah, and they did take the fans' criticism to heart. After that game, they came out with Twilight Princess, which went back
Yeah.
to the dark tone of the visuals, and people love that game. But actually, now I'd say people, when they look back at it, they say, actually, Wind Waker, they really cooked with it, and in some ways, it's actually better than Twilight Princess. I would
Yeah.
say they're both amazing games, though.
Yeah,
at the end of
I
the
feel
day.
like the response that I'm going to give is a little lame in a sense, but I feel like it's just true. I mean, I think a lot of us, when we're big sports video gamers, we like to trash them every year because we always say the same thing. It's always the same shit. Why do I have to keep paying $60, $70? And then what does your boy Chris Collins do? He keeps buying Madden every year, and then he gets pissed, and then he doesn't see anything new, but he needs to get his grind in weekly. You know what I mean? I feel like that is probably like one of the most hated titles of all time. We love you, John Madden. Thank you for making the Madden games. Yes, we feel like Electronic Arts could switch it up and make something a little bit different. Please, for the love
Just
of...
maybe.
Yeah, just maybe. And then again, there are rumors starting to circulate that the EAFC is potentially going into something called like The Ground or whatever, and they're going to branch out into an open world space when it comes to soccer. Football. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I feel like maybe that will alleviate some of the anger, animosity over the years when it comes to the most overhated titles. But then again, that's where we're going to lead this with you, the gamers. Which game are you riding for forever, even when the internet tells you to log off? Let us know what's good. But man, we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And so we're just going to go ahead and shout out our QR codes. So like this will lead you directly to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
And you see this QR code right down here? Yeah, you should know what it is. Yeah, go ahead, pet it. Pet it for a second. Yeah. And then scan it because it goes to my YouTube channel, because there's tons of videos there. You should just go watch some.
I don't know if
Go
you want
watch
to pet
some,
that. That thing looked
have
like
a
it had a
good
little
time.
electricity going.
Some
Yeah,
static electricity.
Yeah, a little static, I guess you were creating. You know, that thing's coming alive. We better jump off air before we get sucked into the void, I suppose. But no, seriously, thank you, gamers. We can't thank you guys enough, and girls, and all the fabulous souls that are, you know, in our DMs, in our comments, all over the World Wide Web. We love you, and we'll see you guys real soon. Stay up all night, play all the kind of video games you like, and we'll see you soon, fam.